Hi there, this is Craig Beck. Welcome in part 6 of the Stop Drinking Expert How to Quit Drinking program. And today's session is going to be a short one because I only want to focus on one thing. And the reason I want to focus on this one thing is that the vast majority of people won't do this exercise. And that's understandable because I understand that, people, humans, were motivated by only two things: gaining pleasure and avoiding pain. And to do this exercise, you need to give yourself a little bit of pain. And so probably 80% of the people watching this video will not do the exercise. It's a shame because it is a part of the puzzle. And what I'm giving you in this course is the complete picture of how I stopped a 20-year drug addiction without using willpower. Now, I'm not saying that if you don't do everything that I did, it won't work, but I'm saying all I'm giving you here is everything I did and suggesting you do the same. If you take one piece away and don't do it, maybe you won't have any change of result. Maybe it won't be any different, but maybe it will. So why take that risk? So I'm going to actively encourage you here to do this exercise. There is a little bit of homework coming. Now, there are certain people who will not be motivated by what I'm about to say. And if you consider yourself to be in the millionaire bracket, where money is no object, then you can probably skip this bit. I mean, you can still do it, but it just won't have the impact that it will for most people. And I do know we have about a dozen or so people who are members who fit into that millionaire bracket that I know about. There could be more, of course. Now, if you care about money, if you'd like more money in your life, if you wouldn't say no to a pay rise, then watch this because this is important. We're going to talk about the cost of drinking. Now, we're talking about the monetary cost here, which is actually, when you get down to the nitty-gritty, that's kind of like a side problem because there are much more important issues created by alcohol, as you know, than the financial stuff. I mean, you've got your relationships, your career, your health, all come before money. But money applies pressure to all those other things as well. There's probably nothing more difficult for a relationship to go through the money problems because it creates arguments, it creates stress, it creates disharmony, it creates misery. So alcohol places a financial burden on you. But what most drinkers will never do is work out how much that burden is. Because, like I said, people are motivated to gain pleasure and avoid pain. And nobody wants to put themselves in that much pain. Nobody wants to think about the money they've lost. So I think it's important that you do this, though, because you're buying a product that makes you miserable and you're spending money on it. Money that you could spend on better, more worthy things. But how much are you spending? Do you know? I guarantee you, if you think of a number now, you're grossly underestimating the amount that you're spending on alcohol, because we all do. In the same way that when we go and see the doctor and he says, "How much are you drinking?" we grossly underestimate how much we're drinking. Even when I went to the doctor because I was worried that alcohol had seriously damaged my liver, I had this pain in my right flank and it wouldn't go away, and it was there for 3 months. And I finally plucked up the courage and went to the doctor. So even at this point where it was vital for me to tell the truth, the doctor said, "How much are you drinking?" And I said, "Oh, not so much, not so much. I used to drink a lot, but not anymore." Why? I was lying. At the point when I was screaming out for help, I was still lying about my drinking. So we try and avoid things that create pain for us. And one of those is calculating just how much we're spending on this attractively packaged poison. So what I want you to do is get specific. I want you to be totally honest with yourself. I want you to sit down with a piece of paper and be honest about how much you're drinking on a daily basis and how much you're spending. So I'm going to do it now as though I'm thinking back to my drinking career, and we'll work out together just how much money I spent on drinking. So I would drink, well, let's say 2 bottles of wine a night. That was my go-to amount. All right. So, $15. You can get it fairly cheap, can't you? But, oh, I'm even more stupid than that. You see, I had this thing to justify my drinking. You see, I wasn't an alcoholic. I was a wine connoisseur. Oh, yes. I even had a little book with tasting notes in. I would buy wine and I would make little notes and give it a score. And I had apps on my phone and I had computer programs where I would log my tasting journal. I was a prize dickhead. But I was a wine connoisseur. And because of that, I was buying very expensive wine. Because that validates my belief, doesn't it? If I have a wine rack full of posh wine, that validates my statement that I am an expert in wine. And I mean, I even invested in wine. I had crates of French Bordeaux stored off-site in temperature-controlled containers that I would never ever see. I would never even see the boxes. At one point I had, I think, 10 crates of Chateau Lynch-Bages. It's worth thousands and thousands of dollars. I only had it because then I could say, yes, I'm a wine connoisseur. The truth is, I was a connoisseur of nothing apart from bullshit. But anyway, my nightly bottles of wine were the good stuff because I believed I deserved it and I appreciated it because of my refined palate. So I wasn't spending, $15 a night. I was spending a lot more than that. So let's say that over a week I was spending about $200, $210 on wine. All right, and then at the weekend I would have a bottle of whiskey as well. I would throw in a bottle of Jack, which I would spread over the weekend. So let's say my weekly spend on alcohol is about $230. Okay, now if we're going to be totally honest about this, we have to consider everything we do with our drinking. So let's also think about the special occasions where we drink a little bit more. You know those mornings where you wake up and you go, whoa, that was a big night. So birthdays, Christmas, Thanksgiving, barbecues with friends and family, social occasions, meals out with your partner, things like that. So let's just round this up and estimate. Let's say $1,000 a year spent on entertainment on top of the normal drinking, or $20 a week. So we're at $250 a week now. Whew. So that's $1,000 a month. And obviously that makes $12,000 a year. Now, of course, you can drink the same amount as I was for a lot cheaper than that, probably about half. But this is my honest assessment of myself. So $12,000 a year on something that destroyed my health, made me obese, stagnated my career, ruined my marriage, made me a bad parent, made me wake up full of guilt and regret, made me feel tired all the time, damaged my sleep, and just made me downright miserable. I was spending $12,000 a year on that. But it's worse than that. Because I had £20,000 on credit cards. I had personal loans. My family were coming to me saying, can we go on vacation? I was saying, I'm sorry guys, we just can't afford it. We were driving around in old cars because just didn't have the money to upgrade. I had a relatively good job back then, but money was just slipping through my fingers. So $12,000 a year. Now, this is where it gets really scary. You've got to remember that my drinking career lasted 20 years. So what does that add up to over 20 years? Well, let's be realistic here. I wasn't drinking at that level for the full 20 years, so let's do it over 15 years. You ready for this? $180,000. $180,000 on poison in a pretty bottle. It's insane.